others so that if they come to know, you will feel embarrassed. Why should we like?
There is no separate cabin for us.
There is no separate furniture, there is no separate computer, nothing like that. So the whole idea is that if I am there, fine, there is a computer which I am using. But if I am not there even for half an hour, 1 hour, I am gone out, anybody can sit there and use it. There is no meeting which happens closed door. These are tough decisions, but these are very important decisions to build up the team, and that is the reason I am able to travel almost 12-15 days a month. And fortunately, the organization, the idea is growing. So the credit does not go to me, the credit goes to the team. Because I am traveling, I am totally cut off. I mean, since morning I am here, I have not even seen my phone that except once or twice.
I think somewhere a lot of it is also built on what we are talking about, be the change. I think Gandhi said something very important. He said, moral authority is far superior than positional authority. The idea that moral authority is an idea of leading with what you said, transparency, dignity, justice, I think equity. I think if I were to just take back the words that you all have lived and in every purpose, if we can inculcate that in leadership styles or in the culture that we build in our teams, is that moral, where hierarchy is not where leadership happens. Hierarchy has nothing to do with leadership. It's the ability to have that competency that it revolves around. So, in a way, to build cultures of that, as you correctly said, very difficult. Because all of us love the power that comes with a certain space, and it gives us a certain larger candidate and all of those things. I think somewhere competency is really where leadership comes from. But yes.
And you know, any school in India especially, is the biggest example of that authoritative way of operating. The principal is so cut off. The principal only comes and delivers a talk, and if the principal wants to speak for 1 hour, the principal will speak for 1 hour. The children have to stand in that position itself. The closest person to the principal and the next principal, not even headmaster, is the receptionist of a school.
Teachers are terrorists.
Even teachers do not have access to the principal in that way. I mean, how? And then what about those 2,500 kids and their parents who are maybe must be leading the corporate or whatever sector? They become like this in front of a principal. There is no access, there is no communication. How will things change?
Just one last question that I had from Anil sir. Sir, what I understood that you were talking about the rawness of an idea whenever a kid has got it. We should always implement it. To be very true, on our campus we are caught up with maths, science, English, maths, and Hindi. These five. And Hindi. And generally speaking, there is no time that we can give to this, because the expectation from the culture that we live in is that my bacha should know good English, my bacha should be able to solve quadratic equations, my bacha should know what is a cell or a stem, my bacha should know how to write properly. How do you inculcate this kind of mindset in the parent body? Not just teachers, we can people can train. But how do you inculcate this thought processing in the parent? Because parents come with the mindset where they say, हमने जैसे schooling किया है, हमारे बच्चे भी वैसे schooling करेंगे. How do you do that?
Can you take more questions?
Yeah. Do we have any follow-up questions?
If you can just be loud enough.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I just have a question for everybody actually. It was beautiful hearing out whatever the question was and our question was, and everything very to the point. But at the same time, when you all must have been in a different stream altogether at a certain point of time in your life, and there was a switch to this kind of the hunger to do something and give it back to the society, and the turning point would have taken a 360-degree most probably, I'm assuming or presuming. But was there a catalyst, or was it self-motivated that made you do this or take a decision in this front? Or was there a catalyst who helped you out? Or was it something that must have happened to have that kind of a flick and then a change?
Okay, so if I'm understanding, are you asking about the defining moment? You're asking about how to look at parents and their expectations. Any other base questions? So we're looking at Does everybody need to have a defining moment to have this big change? And if there is one. Any other question, please?
As Sir was saying that he started speaking when he was in 8th or 6th. I mean, I do agree that we are training up children to speak from that. I mean, we are trying to make them think. I do agree, but do you think that in our days, like when I've done my schooling as probably in early 80s, there was no one to help me. Like I was doing everything on my own. Whatever is coming out is out of my own creativity. But what I have observed in my school and in my children also, the teachers and parents, we are just giving them everything ready-made. It's not just the platform we are providing. We are, we are actually, you know, it's not making them think. We are spoon-feeding them. So how do we come out of this situation?
Let me react to the questions that you have said. One is that I believe that the language in which we are born is the language in which our hard disk is formatted, and therefore that stays with us. So language shapes the habit of thought. Language shapes the habit of thought. If you are born in a language culture and if you denigrate it, if you don't build upon it, you will not be able to think through as profoundly as you should. तो मैं 4 शब्द हिंदी में बोलूँगा, राइट ट्रांसलेट. व्यक्ति, विचार, व्यवहार और संस्कार. What we have talked about, what we just summarized. Individual, thought, practice, values. That is the way they go. Is that it? Now in different language, you would say this in different ways. To me, this occurred in Hindi language, but it occurred in Hindi language, not in English. The beauty, the rhythm doesn't come out in English, isn't it? So there is a merit in thinking about ideas in one's own language, and we should encourage it. We should nurture it. Doesn't matter if we translate it later on. English is okay. I have no quarrel with English, but languages are the soul of a society, because society has to be pluralistic, diverse, accommodative, and each language culture in that sense is a seed of its own diversity. So therefore, we must maintain diversity. We must encourage children to talk about their language, should tell stories in their language sometimes, and then properly translate it, so that language connectivity doesn't get lost. About the defining movement, I would just say that generally it happens from within rather than from outside. I don't want to take time, but I would say that yes, it happened to me too. And when I realized that there's a need to be fair in the world when I was not in my life, that turned out to be what a media network is. So in some sense, it could be either guilt or gratitude. Sometimes we are driven by guilt, sometimes by gratitude. I had a mix of both. Guilt about my conduct, gratitude about the people who had taught me. And both of them became the defining force, I would say. So, and the question about spoon feeding, I would just say that you are absolutely right. I have been to science congresses many times, and I find that a lot of children, actually they are not presenting their project. It is the project of the teachers and the parents. And it's shame that a country allows such a huge institutionalization of fraud, a bad culture, that children are being taught at an early age that they can call something as their own when it is not their own. What can be worse than that? So this culture of buying projects, selling projects to children so that they can show off and get some credit. I mean, everybody here, also parents, please think for a minute when you find shortcuts for the children, what are you doing to them? You are teaching them a value that you are not aware, but you are actually teaching them a value. That it pays to mimic, it pays to copy, it pays to explain something that is not their own.
You download from Google, you have your own colored printer at home, you pay 500 rupees for a project maker who are minting money like anything outside home. So even the parents are not involved, imagine.
Yeah.
In the creativity of the kid, even the parents are not involved. Leave apart the kid out there.
No, I think the rawness is more important. It doesn't matter. You mentioned earlier that when your time, if somebody brought a project which was not that beautiful, I like that day when you asked them to do something. What was the day when you made us? when children made something from the waste and they made it on the spot, I think, that was good because you are forced to think.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how good your idea is, I don't care. But the fact that you were forced to think and solve a problem right there and then, I think that is the value which you should understand.
And I need to add on the defining moment. That's important because I personally feel that if you think for years, you never perform. You never do. Because this entire sir is sitting here, but I say publicly that all this business plan game. I often ask people that you talk about two people. One is Bill Gates and the second is Mohammed Yunus. One is the epitome of commercial part, one of the social part. Do you think that these two people ever made a business plan when they started thinking about their idea, or it was just again a kida or a passion? And once they got into it, after that they must have planned in whatever. Today, we even plan at how many minutes one person takes in sorting a cloth. That's the implementation planning. That's not the idea planning. I mean, imagine people like us who come from the middle class families, and today you teach us making an Excel sheet, and you tell us that if you want to work on your dream, on your idea, on the right side of it, it is written that you need 25 lakh rupees. Am I mad? Can I ever take a risk?
No.
Can I really work on my passion?
Absolutely.
Today, in the age of 20, 25, 30, which is the most creative age of our time, most of us get into this entire weird cycle of taking a loan in the name of security to make my own house. That's what I often tell people. That means you become an employee of Citibank or HDFC Bank. Because ultimately you earn for paying the installments. So you are an employee of those banks in your most creative age. So you have to rethink about it. Do not plan so much that your entire life is spent in planning itself.
Absolutely right. I would say the secret of my life is imperfect beginnings. Because unless if you try to make beginning perfect, you will never start.
That's where the logic does not matter.
We are going to get you.
I think this comes, we have to close now because otherwise we will not get lunch and then you will not have a nice 1 hour to have lunch and meet up with each other. Even though we had a little